What up? What up? Once again, it's your favorite podcast, Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson. I'm joined with my co-hosts, Buff and Razi. Bella, tell them what's on your mind.
What's up, man? Yo, one thing I wanted to talk about real quick. I don't know if you guys have seen The Watchmen on HBO. I just started the first 2 episodes last night, and I'll just kind of give you guys the opening scene is the 1941 Tulsa Race Massacre. That's the opening scene of The Watchmen. And I mean, it goes on from there. It changes how Tulsa, Oklahoma is today. It's set in the Watchmen universe. If you guys watched the movie or read the comics before, it's a very different take on what's happening in the world. It's truly a comic book environment, but it's really grounded and down to earth. And it's basically, the cops have started putting masks over their face to hide it because they had what they call the White Night, where the KKK basically went in and shot and killed all the police officers in the city. And so 40 police officers died that night. And then it goes on from there. So now cops cover their face. And if you remember Rorschach from The Watchmen, he has kind of copycat folks now that are still trying to kill the police and everything like that. And so it's dealing with race and interplay between, it's not necessarily white and black, but these two different factions that mirror real life today. It's so good, man. The first 2 episodes, I'll keep you guys updated on it. But if you haven't watched it, if you got HBO, I mean, it's going to be a good series, man. They did Watchmen correctly. If you didn't like Watchmen, the movie, this will kind of bring you back to actually liking the Watchmen.
Well, that's getting a lot of flack right now because there's a lot of people out there that are saying it's too political, especially with everything that's going on. The Watchmen has always kind of been a political comic. They've always kind of had that stigma behind it. So I've watched the first episode. I haven't watched the second one. As usual, it's a different take on comics. Like Watchmen is not your typical X-Men, Avengers, DC. Well, even though the Watchmen is part of DC, right?
Yeah,
DC universe that you're used to. So it's definitely a good show. Good watch. I think Buff, your crush Regina King. Did you just add her to your list? Wasn't that one of you guys that added Regina King to your list? Is that Regina King?
It might have been Razi that added it.
Oh, so I saw somebody add Regina King to their list. But Buff, what's on your mind, man?
So I haven't watched The Watchmen yet, but I plan on watching it. Even though I don't have HBO, I'll find a way to pull it up on my sources. But I just want to say, I know it feels like we're always thanking you guys, but it's because we really owe it to you all. Last week, we made a post on domestic violence, and we think it went viral. We don't know the exact number it takes to call something viral, but it reached over 23,000 people, and we just want to thank you guys for getting such a great message out there to the masses. We hope it made some people reevaluate domestic violence and really want to be more proactive in trying to prevent it if they can. So we thank you guys for that. We hit another milestone on follows. So we're just really moving along, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So we just really, really appreciate you all.
Well, I'm going to echo that sentiment. Don't have much to say on that. I'm just happy to be here. That's me right now. I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm happy that we're having the success that we had so far, and hope to have continued success. It's a pleasure talking to you guys every week. It's a way to reconnect. It's a chance for me to unwind and get things off my chest and off my mind. So I enjoy it, man. And since Buff has been promoting, who have you been promoting all day, man? Get your promotion in. What are you sipping?
Oh, Douce, a little Douce right now.
Since we're promoting Douce, let's go ahead and pay some bills with something else.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
And we're back. Three Brothers No Sense. It's my favorite part of the show for your favorite podcast, Question Time. So, fellas, I've been really trying to figure out what I wanted to ask this week. I have a couple of questions, but I think some of my questions have been maybe a little too deep. So I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. And also, this is for help for me. So I think we've mentioned it a couple of times, but we never went deep into it. So for you all that do not know me, I am part of the Houston Omega Lamplighters. It's a mentoring organization started in Tallahassee by members of the Omega Sci-Fi Fraternity Incorporated. And I was one of the lucky gentlemen to be able to bring it to Houston. And so I started looking at myself because we had a workshop last week talking about brand building. And when people describe me, mentor and all this stuff, I realized that for a lot of people, they come to me with questions and problems and look for insight and look at me as somewhat of a mentor, in a formal setting and in a informal setting. And I always tell people they should seek mentorship. And what I realize is I do not practice what I preach. So I'm 38 years old. I think I've been fairly successful in my life and in my endeavors, but I'm getting to the point where I'm looking for more, or what's next, or what I should be looking for next, and realize I do not have a mentor. And so my question to you guys is, how do you feel about mentorship? You guys mentoring, do you mentor anybody or see yourself as a mentor? Do you currently have a mentor of mentors, and how did you find them? And what were you looking for when you find them? If you don't, I challenge you to find one as well. And what do you think you need to get from that? So that's a lot of questions, but it's just mentorship in a nutshell. So who wants to take that? Maybe you guys can help me out.
So as far as do I mentor people? So at my job, we have what they call the Senate pages. And there are high school kids that do like a semester of school on Capitol Hill. And every once in a while, we have a kid or two that ask questions about certain things, and I definitely try to give them the best advice I can. But as far as on an official level, like you're doing, Ferg, I'm not in that position where I do it officially. And as far as having a mentor, again, I don't have like a designated person that I go to for everything, but I would say my uncle that lives up here, Uncle Willie Smiley, retired from U.S. Customs. He's someone that I really look to. He's a very spiritual guy, very knowledgeable guy. So I asked him a lot of questions on just like adulthood, especially, when I was first buying my house and stuff. So on adulthood, advice on different things. Also, you guys, man, like I think sometimes when we think of a mentor, we think of somebody that's at least 10 or 15 years older than you. Your mentor can be your peer. And so Razi knows, I know we've mentioned before, we used to joke about, who had the biggest salary out of us. But during those conversations, a lot of times I would ask him financial questions, investment questions, which stock should I be looking at? So a mentor can be, you don't necessarily have to have a designated person like that's my mentor. But if you have a group of friends that are good in one area and a group of friends that are good in another area, then definitely pick their brains on those different subjects. And that's what I do with you guys and my uncle to make my answer short and sweet, if you will.
Yeah, Byron, that's kind of the same thing I was going to say is at my company, we have an official mentoring program, and I'm a mentor there. So I have 3 mentees that I help out that are, just starting out earlier in their careers, that type of thing. And so I help them. And then I have a lot of friends that are, my neos, like the young neos in the frat, kind of look to me a lot of times, like Byron said, for like financial advice, business advice, things like that. So I help mentor them as well, and just kind of help them navigate corporate America and learn how to navigate, how to get to those higher paid and higher graded positions and that type of thing. So that's mainly what I concentrate on with mentorship, is how to navigate corporate America. And then as far as me finding a mentor, I don't have a mentor, and I've actively looked for a mentor. Again, our company's kind of formal mentorship program, I've had a couple of mentors there, but what ends up happening is we just kind of fall off because it's not, I think it's a little too stilted and it doesn't happen naturally when we find a mentor through this official, oh, I want you to mentor me. We'll have a couple meetings. And, with our official mentorship program, it's like scripted to where, hey, your first meeting, you guys should discuss this. And then the next meeting, you should discuss this. And so I think what ends up happening is I don't get that true bond that you really need with a mentor. And I don't get a chance to build that trust that you really need to be able to ask the real questions. And truthfully, the mentorship that I really need, it's very difficult to find. I'm in a upper middle, lower, high end of kind of the pay grade or maturity.
Pause for a second. You said upper middle, lower.
Upper middle, lower, high end. So
he covered all the categories.
Yeah,
I like a skinny, short, tall girl, kind of thick. How I like it.
No, but I'm at the point now. I'm a vice president of the organization, and it's few and far between to find a mentor, like Byron said, that's higher leveled, that can help me navigate. Now I'm more into a political navigation than I am trying to prove myself on a technical side, right? And so not only do you need a mentor, but you need a sponsor, right? Somebody that's going to actually go and promote you, somebody that's going to, when all these executives are in the room and they're like, hey, who's our next senior vice president? Who's our next pick for this position? They're bringing your name up. So that's the part that is hard to find. And there's a long line of people that's for the, 7, 8 people in my organization that can really help me. Now, I do have friends that are outside of the organization that may be able to kind of help me a little bit and give me advice on how to navigate, how to find somebody that may be able to be that sponsor for me and that outspoken proponent, but it's still very difficult. And so, no, I don't have one. I'm actively looking and searching. So if anybody wants to just take us under the wing, I'm happy to take that advice. That's another reason why I kind of joined that Alabama Leadership Initiative, because I hope that what I'll find in there is somebody that can start helping me navigate to even higher levels than where I'm at now.
Definitely thank both of you guys for sharing. I mean, I think it's hard. I mean, a lot of times, one thing we talked about a lot was our career. For especially men, we put a lot of onus and pride on our career and our upper progression in our careers. And a lot of people think of mentorship and they kind of stop there. I'm in sales. I've been in sales for God knows how long. And throughout my time in sales, I've had several different mentors and I've mentored others career wise. And I get it what you're saying, Razi. If there's not that bond, it's kind of hard to ask the right questions or be truthful. But I think for me, and maybe I'm looking at it too holistically, I'm trying to take my career out of it because I think I'm more than my career. And it's just like, and I don't want to say life coach, but like almost somebody who can mentor me on life. But I think for me, I'm probably looking for one person, and that might be my issue, is I'm looking for that one person that can just, okay, I can talk to this guy about marriage, finances, including career progression and stuff like that. What are the next moves? So, when I look at him, several. That's the thing. But the problem is I can't find one. And I think maybe because maybe I need to lower my standards on it, because you guys said it. We do have conversations. I do. And I don't want to downplay any advice any of you ever given me. Razi, I've come to you for the last 20 plus years on advice on finances and stuff like that. Byron, you've been married, like I seek your advice on just marriage and being able to keep a happy home. Like I look up to you guys. Even sometimes you don't even have to say stuff, mentorship and your brand is you lead by example. So I pay attention. Like, even we were talking a few weeks ago about you and Tab, like I paid attention to. I feel like you're one of the people I always see that at the end of the day puts his wife first. Like I don't have to agree with it, but if it's going to be a problem in my household, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it up. I make that happen. So I definitely took that from you guys and I put it in my life. But it's like for me, finances. So for you guys that don't know me, I come from very humble beginnings, Mobile, Alabama. I was blessed to graduate from college and get good jobs out of college or decent jobs out of college. And I've struggled financially. I remember at one point I had a credit score that is just, it was embarrassing, probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life when I had to say my actual credit score in front of my wife. And hell, I'll say it now because I'm in the 800s across the board now. But in 2010, I had a credit score, my wife and I, Sabrina, where we were moving into our first apartment. And when I say this woman had my back, she stood behind me every step of the way. We're trying to get one of those $99.99 moving special apartments. And it's like no credit, no problem. Bad credit, no problem. I had a problem. So I had checked my credit score the day before and I'm like, I'm full. And they're like, sir, what's your credit score? I'm like, high fours. I had a 476.
Good God.
Good God. I grew up with it's like credit, my idea of credit was your credit is good until it's bad. So it starts off decent and over time it's eventually going to get bad because that's just what credit does. So I really didn't understand that. And so Razi's definitely over the years kicked me in the ass a couple of times to get my life together financially. I've come to him probably too many times, asking for help, or assistance or advice, not following advice. And I come back and ask the same questions, but eventually I got it. So I don't take that for granted. But I think what a mentor is somebody that kind of, for a fact that you are, this is what they provide for you. Like one of the things I'm looking for now probably is a financial mentor on, hey, your personal finances, your business finance, like what are you going to do? What are you doing to create extra income? Yes, you need to create a balanced portfolio. You want to do these things, but go start a business, like do this, and this. What do you have? What kind of residual income do you have? Like, are you trying to flip? Like, you have the income that you need to be maybe looking into real estate, whatever those cases, that maybe not giving me the answers, but things I need to be really thinking about and holding me accountable. The same way, like I hold my mentees accountable. The same way with your mentoring program at your job, like it's a checklist of these are things we need to be talking about. Not just when I come ask you for advice. It's like, okay, Ferg, you asked me about this. What have you done so far? Like Razi would give me advice, but he would never really like, okay, we talked about getting your credit together. Where are you at? Mm-hmm. 6 months later, it was just like you were there for when I needed you, but it was that accountability. I think that's part of being a mentor is like I'm vested into you, the accountability, because at work, when your mentees look good, you look good. Mm-hmm. When I was with the car rental company, I mentored a lot and I got mentored. So people were looking to mentor me because as I got promoted, they look good. And eventually their goal was for me to come work for them under their umbrella because they like, okay, I kind of help mold this guy. I know what he's about. And the more success he has, I can hitch myself to this wagon. So I've said a lot about mentors. I mean, any input on that, fellas?
Well, just like we said, you can outgrow a relationship with a friend. I think we talked about it a couple episodes ago. Yeah. I think you can also like learn more than your original mentor. So whatever you go to a mentor on, it's possible that you can get to a level to where you need a better mentor. And I think that's kind of what you were talking about in that lesson. So I just let people know that you don't have to stick with the same mentor for life.
Yeah. And like, what was I say, Razi?
No, I was just going to agree with that and saying, it's one of those things that I think a lot of times we go to mentors and we want the answer. We want them to give us the answer. And the best mentors don't give you the answers. What they give you, like you said, is they give you thought-provoking questions to make you find your answer, or you come to what's best for you, because, your mentor isn't sitting in your place. Like, they can't tell you, hey, you need to go do real estate, or, hey, you need to go do this other thing. What they're doing is making you think through and questioning, okay, if you want to do that, have you thought about the risks? Have you thought about all the angles on that? Have you thought about this? Are you comfortable? Oh, I know that if you go down that road, you're going to run into this issue. Are you prepared for it and things? That's the mentorship that I'm looking for. Not necessarily giving me the answer.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people walk into mentorship programs, and not even gonna lie, my first time going into a mentorship program where I was in that formal mentorship, and I asked my mentor, I was like, what do you think is next for me? What do you think is the best job for me? And the mentor was just like, I don't know. That's not my call to make. What are you interested in? Like, where do you want to go? I can maybe get you in front of a hiring manager, or maybe, like I said, be that proponent for you. But I can't tell you what your next step is. I can't tell you where you're supposed to go.
I might be able to help you get there. So once you decide what you want to do, I can start working with you on creating plans and stuff like that, or sponsorship. You said something like that, like, hey, a lot of people don't need, like, hey, I have a mentor, but my mentor can't help me get to that next level because I need somebody else to be my advocate. And maybe your mentor is telling you, like, hey, I can help. I can give you all the stuff you need mentally, but you're going to have to go out there and work and put in the effort. You have to build an advocate, like giving you things that you may not think about, may not consider. So the first time I really realized I was lacking mentorship, and I think I've talked to you guys about this before, is when I wanted to get married. And I'm like, man, because for you guys that do not know me, I was like the anti-marriage guy. I was like, so this ends in divorce 50% of the time and she get half? I don't like those odds, man. And so I was anti-marriage. So when I decided to get married to my beautiful wife, Sabrina, best thing that ever happened to me, wouldn't change it for the world. Baby, you're awesome. I was like, what do I need to know? What do I need? And I'm like, I can't really think of in my whole life, maybe between 3 to 5 successfully married couples who have been doing this for a while, like for a long. Byron, like, we got to the point where, like, you were on that list. Like, I'm like, when I go back, it was like, I have one aunt and uncle on my mom's side, one uncle on my dad's side, Razi, your parents, Byron and Tab, and one other family in my church.
Oh.
That's how far I had to go. Like, I had to, and I'm like, man, but I still didn't want to, like, go. And I talked to a few people. It was like, there's not people I can go to and just talk about being married or what it takes to be married for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And that's scary, like, hey, now that I'm at a certain financial level, who can I go talk to? And I think you said it best, Byron. Sometimes, our mentors can be somebody our age, but a lot of times we just don't look at them because it's, I know you're here now, but I'm trying to get to that next level. Like, what does this look like 10 years from now? And maybe I should lose that thought process. Like, maybe because this person is where I want to be, or is on the trajectory to go where I want to be. He might be 2 steps ahead of me. He might not be where I want to go, but he's 2 steps ahead of me. So maybe he should be the person I'm following behind or hitching my wagon to, because I know he has this portfolio and this is what he's done in the last 5 years. So if I do this the next 5 years, I should be at least there. And 5 years from now, he should be at a whole nother level, or she should be at a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. Don't shoot for the moon with a mentor when, you still tying on your shoes. Like, you need to find someone that, like you said, is a few steps ahead of you that can kind of pull you with them as they go, as they grow. Because, everybody is trying to get Oprah to, mentor them. But the problem is, everybody, Oprah can't mentor everybody. So you have to find somebody that is accessible. But, when you listed off those folks, the thing is, you have a large network to be able to pull from. It
took a lot to come up with that list. It took years. It was like, I'm saying that now, I've been married for 7 years. But when I was thinking about it, it's like, man, I don't know about it. Like I put people on the list after I got married. I was like, You know what? I think I went to your house for Christmas. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think of Razi, Mama and Daddy, because believe it or not, that stuck with me. Some of the stuff you guys said that weekend stuck with me because there's not a lot of people and there's a difference in getting advice and having a mentor to me.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, fellas, I mean, it seems like we share a lot of ideas, similarities on the mentorship. And Buff, you said are you going to go out and find a mentor? Or are you cool where you're at right now?
I'm not going to say I'm cool. I don't want to sound like I'm just content. I'm definitely not cool where I'm at. But, as I definitely try to progress, especially with the investing with like stocks and stuff. I talked to Razi a little bit about that and some coworkers. So I'm always looking. It just depends on what idea. I have a couple of business ideas that I'm going to try to implement, and I have some people that are already in it. So I'll be picking their brain on that. So I'm definitely always looking for mentors on certain areas, man.
Razi, what's your next step?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm always open. I do think I need to be more active in trying to look for somebody that can guide me in the right. And I know you were saying kind of outside of work, but the thing about it is, I'm lucky enough. I still have my dad to kind of go talk to about relationships and being married and all of that. So, I mean, I guess I could count him as a mentor in that. And I did apologize to him. I just want to let you know, I talked to him the other day and I apologized about that whole saying I wish he was back in the hospital thing. So that's kind of taken care of. But I still have him. But so I really don't, I'm not looking for a mentor in that because I have that in my dad. And so really the gap that I need a mentor in is that part. And truthfully, anybody who is in fashion, owns a clothing brand, anything like that, I definitely need a mentor in that because, we're trying to grow that. So I don't think there's going to be a single mentor for me because it's so different for the things that I need. So I look for a mentor that can fill those gaps of information and knowledge and everything.
So Razi,
Byron, are you opening chips or something?
Razi's so smart, it's hard for him to find a mentor. Is basically what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what it is. Another flex. Hey, for me, I look for gaps too, dude. It's like relationship wise, I think we're at a good point. My wife and I have a lot of over dialogue. She's very open, receiving. I couldn't really ask for a better partner. So I just try to make sure, and we talk a lot and try to make sure that we mentor each other in that, in a certain respect. But, like finances, I think I got my personal finances to a certain extent in order. But now it's investing and then having other business ventures. So just trying to find that next thing like, hey, invest, you just start getting a stock portfolio, which I don't have, and then start investing in, getting you a business plan or something like that, where you can start making some residual income and stuff like that. And looking for that. I think that's my major gap that I'm focused on right now. And then hopefully later on, I'll start adding on. So anybody out there looking to mentor or has had success in getting a mentor, please reach out and comment and tell us what you did or have done in the past to find mentorship. I think you said something very profound, Razi. We have to be proactive in doing it. So unfortunately, no mentors just fell in my lap, or maybe I'm overlooking them. So
that's probably what it is. A lot of times, I mean, we're oblivious to it. There's somebody who has been mentoring us and we don't even know it. And truthfully, that's your best mentors. The ones that, they're giving you those thoughts and ideas and guiding you, and you don't even know it. And so I think there's probably a lot more of those out there than we think. So appreciate those folks in your life that's doing it and mentoring you, and you don't even know that they're mentoring you. So
message.
But Ferg, that was a perfect segue actually into my question. If Byron, if you don't mind me going next,
proceed.
You were talking about investing and opening businesses and expanding kind of your portfolio and that type of thing. And so my question really was about retirement. What do you guys want to do in retirement? Because we're at this point now, we're at this tipping point, right? We should really start planning towards that. We're coming up, knocking on 40. We got maybe 20 years left, 25 if you're trying to go long with it. And so now we're on the downhill of trying to think about what we're going to do for retirement. So what are your plans in retirement? Do you have any plans in retirement? And are you on track to do that? And what are you doing to kind of be on track?
You want to go first, Byron, or you want me to go, or how do you want to do this?
My plans are to eat egg whites, fruit, and turkey sausage on the balcony of a Miami condo overlooking Biscayne Bay. I'm trying to do that pretty much every morning and do a lot of traveling, play with grandkids and stuff. So am I on track to do that? Kind of. It just depends on if I can find it depends on for what my current house sells for. That's going to be a major thing. And, what I can find down there in the 305. And if I can convince the missus to move down there, because she has agreed to move to Florida. She's not that sure on Miami. So got a lot of working out to do. And she also cares where Jasmine is. So she doesn't want to be too far from her. But that's pretty much what I want to do, man. I still plan on working, but I don't want to be in a position where I have to work. So I kind of wanted to be like just something to keep me busy, doing something I love. Like right now, while I really like my job, if I could stay home every day, I definitely would prefer that. So I'm just trying to be in a position where I don't have to work, where I can leave something for Jasmine, pass down to her, and really not have to worry about the cost. I think I'm on track. I went to a retirement seminar that my job hosted like a few months ago. Matter of fact, I reached out to you, Razi, and talked to you about some of the numbers they went over and stuff and what I will be looking at in retirement. So I think I'm on track, but I also feel like I can do better as well. So I'm looking at some of the spending that I'm doing presently and seeing where I can cut back, and some big purchases that I wanted to make. I'm kind of rethinking. Like I wanted an old school 75 Caprice that I wanted to candy paint and put some 15s on it so it sounded like some gorillas in the trunk. But I may not do that. Because it's about the big picture, man. And
but 8Ball and NJG said you should have
that. They did, man. And we always say how you're in Birmingham, Razi, Ferg, you in Texas. A lot of our friends are in Mobile. We're all spread out. And I definitely would like to spend a lot of my retirement years seeing you guys, spending time with you guys, getting to know your kids, your family, our families, because we really do look at our group of friends as a family. Like when we come home for Thanksgiving, like it's a priority that we all see one another. So just things like that, man. I'm babbling right now, so I'm going to see what Ferg and what you have to say. And if I have anything else to add, I'll definitely add to it. But those are some of the things I'm looking forward to doing, man.
Very similar goals. Like I want to be able to travel, spend time with my family. I don't ever see myself just not working or contributing to some kind of cause. In the grand scheme of things, I would love to retire from whatever I'm doing and be able to consult. I think that's always a great option where, you kind of run your own business and you're consulting, getting paid for that. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know where I'm going to be by that time or what my knack will be, where I can get paid to consult. But the thing about it is, unlike you, Byron, and probably unlike you, Razi, I don't think I'm on track. I feel like I got a late start, and I've had to make some sacrifices and, done some things with the money that I had saved for retirement at one point in time. I have money in there now, but definitely to have a late start and then to have to use money has put me behind the ball. And I think that's another reason somebody having a financial not a financial advisor. Having a mentor is huge for me because I feel like, hey, I need somebody to help me get back on track or get ahead of the game or play catch up. But at the same time, I might not be as far off as I think I am. But once again, because I don't come from that financial background, I really don't know. And we've had this conversation a couple of times, Razi. And a lot of times I'm on track, but then later on it's in one ear out the other, and like understanding where I'm supposed to be again. So for me, I mean, that's the scary thing. You know, you can work, live a otherwise good life. As I see it, I'm not struggling. I'm not wanting for nothing. But then 20 years from now, you look up and it's like, ooh, we ain't got no money. We about to move back and we about to be staying with my mama and or move back in the house
or not just not be able to work. Like I think Byron said it, you want to keep working, but you don't want to have to work. And that's totally different, right?
And then my goal is, and I think it's similar to yours. Like for me, I see myself probably working for another 20 plus years. My goal is for my wife, who's more of a, she's more of a free spirit. I think she has more of an entrepreneurial passion. She's an artist, so she wants to do things like that. I want to be able to support her. And so that's also, I think a part of it is, do I see her working another 20 plus years with me? I think we could easily probably get to a better point and both of us are working, but I don't know if that's in our future. I don't know if I want my wife to have to work another 20 years so we can get to where we want to be. It might happen.
Have y'all sat down with somebody and actually thought through your retirement expenses, what you're gonna need, and then kind of backed into that? Because I think that's the issue a lot of people have is they don't know if they're ready because they never actually set a goal of here's what I think I'm gonna need, so that they know are they on track or not.
Somewhat. We have sat with a financial advisor, and we do I guess we have a financial advisor, but we keep pushing them off. Mm. He'll reach out like, we need to talk about this. Hold on. My AC just broke. It's those things.
Yeah.
Then we have a 529 plan for our daughter and all those. So we have things set up, and it's just kind of like we have to start contributing to those things. And just because I said that, I might drop a couple of $100, my daughter's 529 plan today. And so my thing is, hopefully in the next 20 years, I can set myself up. And Razi, you know better than me. And from the things I've seen, like just having that traditional 401k and maybe even a couple of stocks may not be enough for us to retire the way we want. We plan on retiring. It's life with the, inflation and everything, and the lives that we want. I think that we want to live. So having those other things, because I don't know, Buff, you work for for the government. So you might do you get a pension and everything?
We get a pension, and we got also a thrift savings plan, which is kind of pretty much like a 401k. And then of course you have Social Security, but I just want to tell everybody, do not depend on Social Security. I also went to one of those classes. We had a Social Security expert. It'll be there for people our age, but the projected amount, like how you get it in the mail every year on what you're projected to get, you need to try to look at that as maybe 20 or 30% less than the amount that they send you, because Social Security is really jacked up. I know some people overestimate how bad it is and say it won't be there at all. I believe it'll be there, but I think it's just best to count that as something extra. So don't depend on Social Security. Make sure you're not touching your 401k. And if you're allowed to invest in certain things, IRAs, stocks, Razi can tell you better than I can. Make sure you're doing what you can. And it may mean sacrificing a big purchase or two that you want to make now, because you don't want to have to depend on your kids. I think that's something that's bad in our generation. That's a whole different subject. But you don't want to depend on your kids. And you really want to try to live as comfortable as possible, because you're working hard now. There's no sense of working hard when you're 60 and your knees are hurting. So definitely try to plan as best you can.
Yeah.
But Buff, why can't we depend on our kids? I think that's another thing that, we need to start relooking at as
I don't think we should.
a culture. How many cultures where once you retire as a parent, you move back in with your kids and now you're the stay-at-home babysitter and sometimes the house, people are paying for maids to come in, for daycare, for after school care for their kids and everything like that. When they have retired parents that could just be with them, taking over those roles, helping out. And so
that sounds like the kids depending on the parent. I'm saying as a parent, you don't want to depend on your kid to, help you pay your rent or your mortgage and stuff. I think it's taken away from generational wealth. And that's something we don't have.
Right.
So I think y'all looking at two different, and I think you cleared it up. I understand what you're saying, Razi. There's a lot of cultures where part of the parent job is to provide for their kids and make sure that their kids are set up with great careers, financially successful. So when the time comes for them to retire, they're able to say, hey, I'm the one that helped pay for school and stuff like that. And now the next role is parents move in, become the grandparents, they become the caretakers, they become the words of wisdom. They're the people that are helping mediate the marriage. And like you said, Razi, your parents are still living. Now you have these people that have been married for 30 years living in your house, kind of giving you guidance and stuff like that. And it's a give and take. It's, like, hey, we don't have to pay, we're about to have 2 kids in daycare, $2,000 for daycare. Our kids, my grandparents are able to pick up the parents are able to pick up the kids and stuff like. So it's a give and take. But I think, Byron, what you're saying is like, well, mama rent, dude. Let me go ahead and pay mama rent. Like they don't have it. They retire, they cash out their 401k to go buy a car, to do all this other stuff. Yes. Go on vacation. All of a sudden now they've had their chance to live their life and make their financial decisions, and now they become a burden. So it's a one-way street. And there's a lot of time parents feel like, well, I did all this stuff for you. You owe me. And it's like, hey, I didn't ask to be born. You did what your duty as a parent was. Some parents go above and beyond. Some people do the bare minimum. But at the same time, I'm not here to debate that. It's just because I did all this, you owe me. I don't have to work. You should pay my rent. You should pay this. You should pay my car note. It's like,
Yeah, I definitely don't think that.
And you've seen that. You've seen it, so that's, like, Razi, you're definitely right. I've seen cultures where that's the expectation. Your kids are learning the culture. They're learning all those things from our grandparents and our parents. And maybe that's it. Be able to move near my kids and be able to help with that. And,
and I guess that's why Tab was like, she wants to be by Jasmine, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
What about you, a great financial one?
I mean, Ferg, you were like, you want to mentor and you want to work. I want to like drive off into the sunset at 60, move to Greece, and I ain't doing nothing else. I ain't mentoring nobody. I mean, if you call me, I'm there for you. But I literally want to move to Hawaii. I'm selfish. I want to, like, I'm out. All right.
The thing about it is, like, I hear, like, I've seen studies where, like, people that don't have, like, a full retirement, like there's fulfillment in the retirement, they die quicker, they age quick. So like you go from doing all this. So my thing is like, I want to be able to consult, maybe do a big project, and I don't do it for 6 months.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to be in Greece and be able to wake up in my morning, get on my laptop for a couple of hours, check my emails, like, oh no, that's wrong. Send me the details when you fix it. Bill.
Razi, he'll be busy. He'll be busy because he'll be helping out with Jenica Kimberly, making sure that brand stays on top. So he'll be busy. I think he's just saying he doesn't want to have like designated mentees and just have. Like,
what I'm saying, I don't want Jenica Kimberly either, but I'm gonna have to. So like when we talk about am I on track, I'm not on track for what I want because Jenica just threw a big cog in my wheel, like, when I was 25, I'm like, okay, boom, I'm shoveling money into my 401k. I'm doing everything I can so that when I hit 60. Like I said, I can drive off into the sunset. And then Jenica was like, hey, I want to start a business. And so probably what's going to happen is I'm going to be 60. And like you say, Byron, I'm going to be helping Jenica Kimberly. I'm going to be running it. And I'm going to be CEO. And I'm not going to be able to walk away. And, and probably because I am going to be so ingrained in it that I'm not going to want to, but that throws a kink into my retirement plan because of that. So I'm probably not for my plan or what was my plan. I'm not prepared because I don't have that backup plan for being able to walk away. But financially, yes. I mean, because like I said, I've been dumping money into my 401k since I was 21 years old, but I was also a financial planner at 21. So it's kind of hard for me to not practice what I preach, even though a lot of financial planners don't practice what they preach. So I was doing that then kind of, so I'm on track as far as financially being able to retire. It's just that is everything else set up? Are we going to want to stay with the kids so we can't move to Greece? Are we going to want to travel more? So does it even make sense for us to move to Greece or just live with one of the kids, but only be there for 4 months, 5 months out of the year anyway, because we're traveling.
Buy RV.
You know what I mean? So buy an RV or something like that and park it in their park in one of their houses. So figuring out all that, I think, is where we're at now. But it all started really with, hey, what do I want at 60? And knowing that at 60, like Byron said, I don't want to have to work. If I want to walk away at that point, I'm financially stable enough to walk away. And then I can make the call. So every day, what was old girl on Everybody Hates Chris? She was like, my man got 2 jobs. I don't need this job. Like, I want to be like that. Like, I want to be able to go to work at 60, not like June 5th after I turn 19 or once I turn 60, I want to be able to say, I don't need this if I don't want to. Like, you look at me wrong, I'm out of here. And I want to be able to be ready to do that.
You be playing PlayStation 24 in your office. Razi, I'm not in right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Razi, you know what? Screw this job.
I can do this. It's funny. I did want to be a professional gamer. That's my ultimate retirement plan. I want to retire and actually be a professional gamer. But at that point, I think the fingers I'm gonna be too old, man. But you can't be like ageism. You can't be like, oh, you too old to play. I mean, if I can still hang, I'm going for it.
I think after 30, you might be old, man.
Yeah.
For the game.
I definitely know I won't make it in Call of Duty, though, because I suck in Call of Duty. Any first-person shooter, it is just not in the cards for me. I die so much. It's so bad.
Would you rather say, Buff?
How many bedrooms is this place in Greece going to have? Because I'm trying to see if I'm going to need to get a hotel or will I have somewhere to stay.
Oh, I'm probably only going to have 2 bedroom. Like when we talk about I want to downsize, it's just going to be me and Jenica. We'll have a guest room for like one person or one family. Anybody else, if multiple people come, they just got to get a hotel. Like when I say I don't want anybody to have to depend on me. My life really has been, I'm a giver. I am a person that I try to take care of everybody. That is like one of my biggest downfalls. And so I want to be able to walk away and clear my head and not try to take care of people. I don't know if it's going to be successful or not, but that's really ultimately what I want.
I mean, same here. I don't want to have to, but like I said, I still want to keep busy and keep my mind sharp. Razi, is
I'm gonna
it
be like Anthony Bourdain? I mean, when you talk about keep busy, I'm keeping busy. I'm traveling to every country. I want to eat the scorpions and all that. Like I want to live life to the fullest, the stuff that we can't do because I'm going to work every day.
Yeah, I get it. Well, my wife, she probably won't be too far behind. When we were in France, her and Jenica I think they were hatching a plan to leave us.
Yeah, bro. If like the stars had aligned, they may not have come back. Like,
yeah, bro. They almost left it. I don't know, was it France or Spain, or did they look at both?
I think it was just France. I don't think they like Spain as much.
Okay. Yeah, bro, they were ready to leave us in Spain. If the right dude would have came along, we'd have both been single. Yeah. Raising kids. Like, what happened to your eyes? Long story. Actually, not even that long. They're in France. They'll be back in about 2 years, they say. They say don't look for them. Don't call us, we'll call you.
And don't get remarried.
Orazio Macarella Jr., ladies and gentlemen. He's giving, he's nice until he turns 60, and then leave him alone.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, first off, I was just gonna say apologies to the listeners if I sound a little less clear than I usually do. My computer's acting up, so I'm doing this show on my phone with my Beats wireless headphones. So apologies for that. Razi asked was like,
I'll go get some Raycons.
Okay, whatever. Razi asked was I eating some chips earlier. So no, I'm not, but he may have heard some background noise. The missus is moving around, getting ready for her costume party where she's going to be a damn bunny. We'll talk about that on another episode.
All right, bunny.
It's a sexy bunny. It's a sexy bunny.
Yeah. Do women do any other costume other than sexy insert items? That's all they do. So anyway, to wrap this show up, man, good financial topics from you two brothers, by the way. I hope that was helpful to some of the listeners. But I want to talk about how we're in this Me Too world. We're in this mute such and such world. Recently it was mute R. Kelly. And so 2 years ago, I was very judgmental on people who still listen to R. Kelly, to people who would defend this person or that person. I'm like, how could you still support R. Kelly and you saw what he did or you know what he did? I was very judgmental, but I've evolved on that because when it comes to being a fan of these stars, whether it be an actor, actress, rapper, singer, you really have to pick and choose individually who you are going to separate the art from the artist. And so I came to that, you guys remember when Straight Outta Compton came out and the revelations of what Dr. Dre did came out and him being very abusive to Michelle A. and I think some other women. And I still was listening to Dr. Dre. And so I'm like, how can I call out people that's listening to R. Kelly when I still bump the Chronic? When Nothing But a G thing comes on, I'm turning it up. So I had to step back and, reevaluate myself and say, you know what? It really does come down to individual choice. I no longer judge people, but I wanted to ask you brothers, is there an artist or an actor or whatever that you used to love, but then once allegations came out of what they did, you had to stop supporting them? Or did you hear those allegations and say, you know what? I choose to separate what they did from, what they do as an artist. Have you had to face that reality in anybody that you're a fan of?
Outside of Juicy Smouye?
Yeah, outside of Juicy Smouye, who got bleached and lynched in Chicago in the wintertime. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a good question. I got to think. I mean, so we're not talking about R. Kelly.
It could be R. Kelly. It could be R. Kelly.
I guess for me, I mean, and I guess it's the obvious, is Bill Cosby. Because of what I guess back to I think I remember looking for mentorship for the longest. I looked up to Bill Cosby and what he represented on TV, that black family and that lawyer, that doctor connection. Like, I wanted to have the Huxtable lifestyle. I wanted the brownstone in New York, but just not in New York. I went to school to be a doc. Like, I think that was the first time watching that show. It's like, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. Just because of that. And then when he created a different world, that HBCU lifestyle that he portrayed and brought to the light, I went to FAMU. If I could have went to Hillman, I definitely would have went to Hillman. And so to be such a huge part of what I thought I wanted my life to emulate, and to figure out that this guy was out here, I don't even know what to call it, molesting, raping, drugging, like all the allegations. And it's like, can I, it's hard not to like the Cosby Show because it helped mold me. It's hard not to like or respect a different world because it helped guide me to what essentially was one of the best decisions I've ever made by going to FAMU. This guy was a part of it. He had the foresight to see that and create that, even though he was I guess for the lack of better words, he was a creep. I used to joke with my wife, like, hey, we want our kids to grow up watching the Cosby, because all the stuff crap on TV, like we want our kids to grow up and watch the Cosby Show like it's new versions. Like, we're going to put it on DVD or freaking our DVR and let them watch new episodes every week like it's new, you know, because we wanted them to see the Cosby Show in the light and what a black family could be. And now it's like, ooh, do we continue to support this guy and say it's okay?
I think it's the positivity of what it is. So that's why you have to look at it individually. I agree, Ferg. I never canceled the Cosby Show or A Different World. The rest of Cosby stuff I could kind of do without. I really don't care if his comedy specials and, you know, kids say the darndest things and stuff like that. I mean, I can cancel that. I really don't care about that because it didn't have that positive aspect to it. I think the Cosby Show and also you're taking one, even though he was the producer and the primary cast member and everything, you got to think about everybody else that put in work on that show that made it what it was. So it wasn't just Cosby with A Different World, or it was barely Cosby with A Different World. You know, it was, what's her name? Felicia Rashad's sister,
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen. So it was Debbie Allen who was the executive producer for that. Or she was the producer and Cosby was the executive producer on it. Yeah. So she did all of that with his support. I'm sorry, I'm not going to cancel everything that Bill Cosby ever invested in just because Bill Cosby did some bad stuff. I feel like he needs to pay for it. However that played out or is going to play out, he needs to pay for that. But at the same time, you look at like R. Kelly. The thing about it is I had to cancel R. Kelly, not necessarily because of whether the music was good or bad. It was I had to take his ability to continue to do what he was doing away. And the only way to do that was to cancel his music and take that money away from him. So I canceled R. Kelly. And so, but like Byron said, I don't judge anybody who says I'm going to continue to listen to R. Kelly or not. Now, when we talk about Kanye West, we can go in there. You guys know I'm a huge, picketer of Kanye West. Because I feel like the things that he's doing is detrimental to me and my people. And so along those lines, I'm going to cancel him. I'm going to take his platform away. And the only way to do that is to cancel his music. So when he is no longer a trending producer or he's no longer this hit maker, what's going to happen is he's going to no longer get those interviews. He's no longer going to get that platform to do as much damage as he's doing to my community. So that's why I have to cancel him. So I have to think about why I'm going to cancel them. So Kanye, the thing about him is that I have to look at what's happening and the platform and the reason why he is getting the platform that he's getting.
So I want to start with the first two guys you two mentioned, which is R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. So for R. Kelly, the reason I canceled him is because when you listen to his music and you look at what he's accused of, he's rubbing it in your face. In my opinion, I'm not trying to convince anybody. He's rubbing it in your face when he produces an album with an underage Aaliyah called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. When he sings songs like Seems Like You're Ready, to me, he's rubbing it in your face that, I smashed underage kids and I've been telling you guys about it for years and you never caught on until you saw the tape. So I couldn't do that. And with Bill Cosby.
Hold on, let me stop you. And I was going to go there and I didn't want to interrupt Razi, but that's kind of where I wanted to go with R. Kelly. But even let's say he wasn't smart enough to do all of that. It's like, what was your end contribution? You made some good sexual songs. Can we do without that? What was the impact of what your body of work did? Like R. Kelly music was great. Grew up in the 90s, yada, 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 yada. But at the end of the day, they just get music. You really got no value from his body of work. Same thing with Kanye. Great artist, great producer, but there's no value of his body of work. Bill Cosby actually had kids wanting to do certain things. Black families wanted to be something, showed a different side of the world and, the black college. So like, if your body of work isn't, do we lose from losing their body of work?
That's a great point. And I was going to say with Bill Cosby, I have a personal beef with him. And it's because, for one thing, he went on this whole pull your pants up tour. And I hate respectability politics. I hate it with a passion. And you add to the fact, if you talk to a lot of black comedians, he like pretty much, I'm not going to say the word, but he poo-pooed on them.
He reprimanded them a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. So I just feel like if you're out here drugging and raping women, and then have the audacity to say, hey, man, you cussing too much on stage. Like, how do you not miss that contradiction whatsoever?
That irony is just...
Yeah. But I didn't even think about all that.
And even though I have this personal beef, I still will acknowledge, like you said, for the good that he's done. Like, he's donated to some great charities. He helped one of my favorite movies get funded, Spike Lee's. He's done some tremendous things for the black community, and none of that gets negated. It doesn't get negated to me at all. What he did is terrible, and he's being punished for it. But I think we are smart enough individuals now to say, hey, if you believe the allegation, that's messed up. He deserves to be punished. But hey, I'm not going to stop watching a positive show. Like he brought pretty much the first positive show on major network television in The Cosby Show. And while I wasn't a big fan of it, I know y'all gonna come for me, the fans, the listeners. Cosby Show was kind of lame to me. Not gonna lie, it's kind of lame. But I love Different World, and I still acknowledge the great things that Cosby Show did. A lot of people looked up to that show. We needed a positive black family to see on television every week. And that's what he did, man. So I'm not gonna take any of that away from him. And I just want to say, these type of allegations, they extend across color lines, against timelines as well. You look at a guy like James Brown, like fans of his, this dude, one of his kids recalls a time that he was straddling his mother and like beating her, like on top, like straight beating her like some UFC ground and pound. Miles Davis, how he used to beat up Cicely Tyson. I mentioned Dr. Dre. I'm a fan of Florida State. Jameis Winston had his allegation. Nate Parker, who did the Tuskegee Airmen and what was it, Red Tails, and he also did Birth of a Nation. So to me, I don't think you can universally just mute every entertainer that has an allegation. Otherwise, you're not watching or listening to anything, because it's in all genres, it's in all forms of entertainment.
And you actually, because you listen to so many people, it just made me think of it's a catch-22. Who are we to judge? But we do also need to take a stance. So think about the people in your life they could be part of domestic violence. They're abusers. They do this. They do all these negative things, but you still rock with them. It's a lot of these people you said, Byron, I think like with Miles Davis and stuff like that, James Brown, because it wasn't our era, we overlook it. That's just kind of part of their legacy, even. And
it wasn't as big of a deal back then either. So that, that's the other part about it is true. It was so commonplace that, that's like saying, oh, somebody in the 1800s was racist. Well, yeah, like, I can't judge that person for being racist in the 1800s. That's just kind of how life was.
True. I think it's also, it's.
I still judge races in the 1800s, though.
Yeah. But I think it definitely depends on their body of work, because now I'm thinking about all these people you name, and if their work really didn't contribute as much. Nate Parker came out with all these movies, and it's like, are you supporting him in spite of this? If he did this beforehand, I guess, would you be saying like, well, he did put this story on the map. He did have the want to put some good out before this. I don't know, man. But
you also have to think about there's a difference between allegation and actually proven. Like Nate Parker, it's
an allegation.
It's an allegation, and they nobody has been able to prove it. Actually, I think he disproved it.
In hood terms, she alleged a non-consensual train was ran on her.
Yeah. And then come to find out, she consented.
She was just about that life.
Mm-hmm. She was in college experimenting. You know, it happens.
Air quotes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
not
brought
judging if anybody, you know, have a good time. Equal rights, remember? When you got the right to vote, you got the right to get a train too.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, but before you said that point, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up the difference between allegations and proof, because I think a lot of times men get upset with the Me Too movement because they feel like the general public, all it takes is for a woman to make an allegation and you're automatically guilty of what she accused you of. And that's definitely not what I'm saying. Like with R. Kelly, I seen the tape. I saw it. I seen the tape. You know, I saw you when Touré asked you, do you like teenage girls? And you said, now when you say teenage, how old are we talking? I saw that interview, player. Mm-hmm. So you doggone right, I believe you did what you did. And with Bill Cosby.
You were married to Aaliyah. You know,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was going to say with Bill Cosby, he admitted to giving women Quaaludes. So, you know, I'm not out here just believing every allegation a woman puts out there. I try to look at the facts, and a lot of times it's if the man admits to it or if it's proven. But just wanted to throw that out there. I'm glad Razi brought that point up before.
Real quick,
second point.
Before we end this, because we've been going. Where do you draw the line? Because like the new Harriet movie, the main character, who is I think she is a English. I think she's from England. I want to say she was London.
She's British, but you know she's British and Nigerian, I think.
Yeah, British Nigerian, and so there were some things that came out recently where she had put some less than complimentary tweets out about African Americans, and so she was getting a lot of heat from that. So there's several people calling for us to boycott the film. For one, because why didn't we have a African American in it for one of the strongest African American characters, you know, as well as this person who has been linked to having some anti-African American sentiment.
My thing on that is I really feel like that is a counter offensive to make a Harriet not successful. I get so tired of trying to pit black people against each other. So, you know, representation does matter, but at some point, like we talked about last episode, black is black. And if she was here in America, nobody would be able to say, oh, you're British, so you're not black. Like she's going to get treated the exact same way. And so if she went in, she auditioned, and we have a black person playing this role, as long as we don't have anybody in blackface playing this role, I'm good with it.
But what about her comments? What about her downing the
the thing is, I read some of those tweets, and she's not downing African Americans. She was calling out some of the things that a lot of us have said about African Americans. Like, you know, she was making a generalized statement, and it may not have even been true, but I don't think it was in a derogatory manner where she's saying all black people, you know, African Americans suck and this, that, and the other. I don't think it was that. So we'll try to find all the tweets and we'll post them for you guys to make a decision yourselves. But I don't think it was that. I really think, you know, somebody was trying to find any dirt that they could to make Harriet not successful. And it's the same thing, you know, with Birth of a Nation.
I agree. Y'all going to see it? Yeah, nay?
No.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go see it.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll follow up with the tweets and stuff. Well, it's been another great episode, fellas. Let's leave them with something. Anything you guys want to get off your chest?
Two quick hits. I want to give a shout out to the listeners in Sweden, Puerto Rico, the UK, and France. We checked the analytics. We see that we have listeners there. I don't know how we have listeners there, but if you're listening, we appreciate it. Thank y'all. And I want to give a shout out to Waukesha and Kristen, who completed their first 5K today. Congratulations, ladies.
Congrats, ladies. Good job. It's not easy. I just wanted to throw out there, I did that research on Chick-fil-A. Ferg, I want you to apologize for blaspheming against God's place of eating. They and the reason why I say that is they do support a lot of Republican candidates. But they aren't officially like, hey, we're on the Trump train back in Trump. So Chick-fil-A is still good with me.
All right. Well, fellas, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Stay tuned. Thanks to all the listeners. As Buff said, please tune in for our next show. We're going to have our first guest, somebody that we all know and love and respect dearly. Should we tell them or should we just make it a surprise, people?
Sure, we can tell them.
Surprises are always good.
Okay, well, we'll make it a surprise.
You got two different answers.
We'll stay tuned. We have our first guest. I know you guys will enjoy him. That's a little hint. He's a great guy, great author, great friend of ours. So stay tuned. But as usual, I'll leave you guys with this. 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. 3 brothers, no sense. See you when we see you.